All right, welcome back to our crypto trading tutorial for beginners. Today in part 9, we are diving into a topic that is, and I'm not exaggerating here, absolutely critical for your survival in the market: position sizing. It's the ultimate dream, right? Taking a small stake, say $1,000, and turning it into a massive fortune with just one perfect trade. But what if I told you that chasing that dream is probably the fastest way to lose every single penny? Let's get into why. Okay, so let's imagine this is your starting capital. You've worked hard for it, saved it up, and you've got exactly $1,000 ready to go in the crypto market. So you're looking at the charts, you see a setup that looks absolutely perfect. You're feeling super confident. And that temptation, man, it is overwhelming. So you do it. You decide to put all your chips on the table. You go all in. And what's that all-in trade? You buy one whole Bitcoin. Wow. It feels pretty powerful, right? I mean, you're not just dipping your toes in. You are in the game big time. Now, here's the thing. The market doesn't even need to crash. It just makes a tiny little move against you. Let's say Bitcoin's price just dips from 50,000 down to 49,000. I mean, that's a small little wiggle that happens all the time. Seems like no big deal, right? Oh, so wrong. That seemingly tiny price drop, because you went all in, just cost you a cool $1,000. And since your account only had $1,000 to start with, well, that's it. Your entire account just poof, wiped out in one single move. Game over. Okay, that's a really painful scenario to imagine, but here's the good news. It's totally preventable. So the big question is, how could this have been avoided? How do you protect yourself from this exact kind of disaster? The answer, my friends, is position sizing. This is maybe the single most important concept for managing your risk. It's not about having a crystal ball. It's a super simple method for deciding how much to buy or sell to make sure no single trade can ever knock you out of the game. Seriously, think of it as your financial seatbelt. You wouldn't drive without one, right? The magic of position sizing is that it completely flips the script. Instead of getting obsessed with how much you can make, you start by thinking about how much you're willing to lose. We actually work backward from our risk limit. And this brings us to what is pretty much the golden rule of trading. The first rule is to only risk a tiny fraction of your account on any single trade. A really common industry standard is somewhere between 1% and 2%. So for our examples here, let's just use a 2% safety rule. Okay, so let's do the math real quick. If our account is $1,000 and we're only willing to risk 2%, well, 2% of 1,000 is $20. That means the absolute maximum we are allowed to lose on this one trade is just $20, not 1,000, 20. All right, so if we know our maximum loss is $20, how in the world do we translate that into how much Bitcoin to buy? It's actually surprisingly simple. We just need two key pieces of info to figure it out. Okay, so the first piece of information we need is your risk limit, which, hey, we just figured that out. It's $20. The second piece is what we call market risk. Now, this is just how much you would lose on a standard unit, in our case, one whole Bitcoin, if the price hits your exit point. And in our little story, that loss is $1,000. So that's the market risk. So the process is incredibly straightforward. It's just 3 steps. 1, know your risk limit in dollars. 2, know the market's risk in dollars for a 1-unit trade. And 3, you just divide your limit by the market's risk. That's literally it. So I'll ask you again, based on that simple logic, what fraction of a Bitcoin should you actually buy to make sure you only lose your max of $20 if that stop loss gets hit? Let's plug in the numbers and apply the formula. We take our risk limit, that's our $20, and we divide it by the market risk, which is that $1,000. And the answer is 0.02 Bitcoin. This is it. This is the aha moment. This just brilliantly shows the power of proper position sizing. Instead of gambling with one whole Bitcoin, the correct professional trade size is just this small fraction of it. So this is the crucial point right here. Look at this stark difference. On the left, you've got the gambling approach, a 1 Bitcoin trade that leads to a catastrophic $1,000 loss, and your account is just gone. But on the right, you have the professional trading approach. A 0.02 Bitcoin trade leads to a totally controlled, acceptable $20 loss, and your account is safe to trade another day. This is everything. And that's really the key mindset shift here. Position sizing isn't about being scared or limiting how much money you can make. It is the single most effective tool you have to guarantee your survival. It's all about making sure you can stay in the game long enough to actually find those winning trades.
If you need a daily analysis of the market and useful tips about crypto trading, subscribe to Trade Compass and hit the bell. See you in the next part.